Hello all, greetings from the Department of Food Processing and Nutrition, Karnataka State Akmadavi Women's University, Vijayapura. September 21st is celebrated as World's Alzheimer's Day. So this year being 2020, the theme of celebration of World Alzheimer's Day is let's talk about dementia. So today friends, we shall see about what is Alzheimer's, then causes, then symptoms, then diagnosis, the treatment and the nutritional aspects of Alzheimer's. Coming to Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative brain disorder of unknown etiology which is the most common form of dementia that usually starts in late middle age or in old age, results in progressive memory loss, impaired thinking, disorientation and changes in personality and mood. There is degeneration of brain neurons, especially in the cerebral cortex, and presence of neurofibrillary tangles and plaques containing beta amyloid cells. Let's see what is the difference between the dementia and Alzheimer's. Many people use the words dementia and Alzheimer's disease interchangeably, but dementia is not a disease, whereas Alzheimer's is a disease. Dementia is a group of symptoms which affects memory and reasoning. Alzheimer's can be spotted as a cause for dementia. Alzheimer's disease mainly affects people aged between 60 to 85. Dementia is not a cause of Alzheimer's. Worldwide, 47.5 million people have dementia, out of which more than 5 million dementia cases are actually Alzheimer's, and there are 7.7 million new cases every year. Let's see the statistics of Alzheimer's disease. Generally, it is diagnosed in the people over 65 years of age, although the less prevalent early onset of Alzheimer's can occur much earlier. In 2006, there were 26.6 million sufferers worldwide. Alzheimer's is predicted to affect 1 in 85 people globally by 2050. In India, more than 4 million people are estimated to be suffering from Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia, giving the country the third highest case load in the world after China and the US. India's dementia and Alzheimer's burden is forecast to reach about almost 7.5 million by the end of 2030. Now let's see how the brain functions during the normal and during the Alzheimer's. So you can see in the first picture that's a normal size of the brain, and this side the brain with Alzheimer's. So you can see there is a progressive degeneration of the brain cells leading to shrinkage of the brain from the normal size to the Alzheimer's. Now let's see the stages of Alzheimer's disease. So usually it is mild, then moderate, then severe. So what are the symptoms during mild, moderate and severe? Let us see. During mild, memory loss, language problems, mood and personality changes, diminished judgment. So usually the old people suffer from all these symptoms. And in the moderate, behavioral and personality changes, then unable to learn or recall a new information, long-term memory affected, then wandering, agitation, aggression, confusion, require assistance with ADLs. You can see in majority of the families, the old people may or may not be suffering from such kind of symptoms. So definitely they will be somewhere near stepping towards the development of Alzheimer's. In the severe cases, the unstable gait, incontinence, motor disturbances, bedridden, dysphagia, mute and poor or no control over ADLs. So all these symptoms, you can say uncontrolled, cannot walk properly, so they do not have a control over the central nervous system, or incontinence means involuntary, do not have a control over the urination. Then motor coordination is disturbed, then they are bedridden for a long period, then mute, they cannot talk much or blabbering. So these are all the symptoms in the severe cases of Alzheimer's. Coming to the signs of Alzheimer, 10 warning signs of Alzheimer's disease: memory loss, difficulty to performing familiar tasks, day-to-day tasks, problems with the language, they cannot talk properly, disorientation to time and place, cannot remember, then poor or decreased judgment, then problems with abstract thinking, then misplacing of the things, changes in mood or behavior, changes in personality, loss of initiative. These are all the some of the signs of the Alzheimer's. Then symptoms are confusion, disturbances in short-term memory, problems with attention and spatial orientation, and personality changes. Spatial orientation means they cannot identify one object at a correct place. Personality changes, then language difficulties, then unexplained mood swings, very aggressive, very kind. Sometimes they are normal and immediately very next moment they change their moods. Then causes of Alzheimer's, scientists generally agree that there is unlikely to be a single clear cause of Alzheimer's. Why the old people suffer from this kind of signs and symptoms? It is more likely the result of a combination of interrelated factors, like you can say including genetic factors, it may be, which are passed along family lines of inheritance, and environmental influences which range from previous head trauma, maybe some head injuries, accidents, to educational levels to one's experiences early in life. So the causes are varied. Cannot say the person why he has got this Alzheimer's. A growing body of research is also helping to identify various lifestyle factors such as dietary habits, high blood pressure and high cholesterol, which may influence one's risk of development of Alzheimer's disease. And Alzheimer's develops as a result of a complex cascade of biological processes that take place over many years inside the brain. So it is not one day or 2 days. It is over the years, because there is a slowly degeneration of the brain cells, maybe 10 years or 15 years. So let's coming to the risk factors of the Alzheimer's. Primary risk factor for Alzheimer's disease is the number of cases of Alzheimer's disease doubles every 5 years beyond the age of 65. According to the US Alzheimer's Association, 1 in 8 people aged 65 and older have Alzheimer's disease. About 6% of people aged between 65 to 74 have Alzheimer's, and nearly half, almost 45% of people over the age of 85 years and older have this disease. While it is less common, though Alzheimer's can also affect the younger people. Then coming to the gender, more women than men tend to develop Alzheimer's disease, but this is most likely because women tend to live longer than men. Race and ethnicity, African Americans and Hispanics are at greater risk for the development of Alzheimer's disease than whites. This may be in part because they have a higher prevalence of medical conditions such as high blood pressure and diabetics, which are associated with the increased risk for Alzheimer's. Family history. People with a family history of Alzheimer's are at higher than the average risk for the disease. Coming to the diagnostic test, psychiatric assessments, mental status examination and neuropsychological assessment, laboratory test, brain imaging like CT scan, MRI, PET and SPECT, then CSF examinations, EEG and electromyogram. All these diagnostic tests can reveal the one suffering from the Alzheimer's. Treatment for cognitive symptoms in Alzheimer's disease. This cannot be cured but can be managed. Once it is set in, it is for a lifelong. So with the help of some few medications, so when there is a mild to moderate disease, cholinesterase inhibitors are used for treating the patient. In the moderate to severe disease, it is anti-glutamatergic drugs are being used for the treating of the Alzheimer's patient. Coming to the very important, the nutritional aspects for the Alzheimer's. So proper nutrition is important to keep the body strong and healthy. For a person with Alzheimer's or dementia, poor nutrition may increase the behavioral problems and cause weight loss. So one should be aware of this. The basic nutrition tips can help to boost the person with dementia or Alzheimer's disease. So provide a balanced diet with a variety of foods. So many times the balanced pyramid is discussed about to show or to give the importance of balanced diet. So balanced diet offers vegetables, fruits and whole grains, low fat dietary products, and lean protein foods. So which should be given, and preferably the vegetarian foods should be administered to old age people. Limit foods with high saturated fat and cholesterol. So go light on fats that are bad for heart health, such as butter, solid shortenings, lard and fatty cuts of meats should be avoided, should not be given to old age people. Cut down on refined sugars. So often found in processed foods, ready to eat foods. Refined sugars contain calories but lack of vitamins and minerals and fiber. So instead of going for refined, the complex carbohydrates can be administered. For example, whole grains and millets. Limit foods with the high sodium and use less salt. So most people consume too much of sodium because we are very much accustomed to have the processed food or outside food. So which affects the blood pressure. Cut down by using spices or herbs to season the food as an alternative. So the sodium amount, the sodium intake should be restricted on daily basis. It is usually called as a DASH diet or Mediterranean and MIND diet, which really treat well during the Alzheimer's. So what is this? The one diet that shows some promising evidence is the Mediterranean diet, which emphasizes fully on like what we consume in our area: fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, fish and other seafoods, then unsaturated fats like olive oil or safflower oil or groundnut oil, then low amounts of red meat, eggs and sweets. So a variation of this is called usually MIND diet, that is Mediterranean Dash Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay, incorporates the DASH dietary approaches to stop hypertension. So this diet, which has been proven to lower the high blood pressure, a risk factor for development of Alzheimer's disease. So let's talk about the ingredients of the MIND diet. What is this? The MIND diet focuses on plant-based foods linked to dementia prevention. It encourages eating from 10 healthy food groups. Okay, purely it should come from the plant sources. So what are they? Leafy green vegetables, at least this is all for the old age people, those who are suffering from the Alzheimer's. At least 6 servings per week, all green leafy vegetables. It may be a shepu, it may be a palak, it may be amaranthus, it may be a methi, any varieties of green leafy vegetables. Minimum 6 servings per week means almost you can say a daily 1 serving. Then other vegetables, at least 1 serving per day. So you can say 6 to 7 servings per week. Then berries, like berries gives which vitamin C. So at least 2 servings per week. And whole grains, at least 3 servings per day. Then fish, 1 serving per week. Poultry, 2 servings per week. Beans, any legumes, whole legumes, beans, 3 servings per week. Then nuts, 5 servings per week, then wine 1 glass per day. So again it is under the star mark. So depending upon the condition of the patient or the old age person, the wine can be administered. Then vegetable oil, any vegetable oil. So the MIND diet limits the servings of red meat, sweets, cheese, butter, margarine and fast fried food. These all foods should be limited during Alzheimer's, because when you talk of this red meat, sweets, cheese and butter, margarine, fast fried, what they show there will be a difficulty in the digestion of these foods. So it is always best to go for the bland food, less spicy food, easily digestible food from the plant origin. Coming to the tips for increasing the appetite, because usually or during old age there is a reduction in the appetite, loss of appetite. They may reject the food, whatever food is being served. So during the middle and late stages of Alzheimer's, distractions, too many choices and changes in perceptions, taste and smell can make eating more difficult for the people who are really taking care of them. The following tips can really help them. Serve only 1 or 2 foods at a time. So too many foods at once may be overwhelming. Simplify by serving 1 dish at a time. For example, mashed potatoes followed by meat, or something like the bread and butter, bread and jam followed by banana, like that. It can be done. Be flexible to food preferences. Keep long-standing personal preferences in mind for the patient when preparing the food, and be aware that a person with dementia may suddenly develop a new food preferences or reject foods that were liked in the past. So these are all small observations should be noticed by the people, those who are attending the Alzheimer's. So today he would have had some upma or rice flakes and tomorrow he may reject. So people, those who are attending, should not complain, because there is a lot of mood variations will be there. So we have got to accept their feelings, accept their behavioral problems and try to adjust according to their nature. Give the person plenty of time to eat. So remind him or her to chew and swallow carefully. Keep in mind that it may take an hour or longer to finish the eating. Then eat together. Make meals an enjoyable social event so that everyone looks forward to the experience. Research suggests that people eat better when they are in the company of others. Eating alone, definitely it makes you feel very depressed. When eating together or cutting the bread together, it's really enjoyable task. Keep in mind the person may not remember when or if he or she ate. So if the person continues to ask about eating breakfast, consider serving several breakfasts. He would have had just now and he may forget that. I said again he may demand for breakfast. So to reduce the overloading, what can be given? First a juice can be given. After some time, if he demands again, toast can be given. Then after that some porridge can be given. Something like that, bit by bit, the foods can be served to him. So in this way, you can see how you can make the old people to eat the food in a better way. In a family, when it comes to the matter to maintain the old age people, so youngsters should always support the old people, because there will be a lot of changes that taking place, and majority of the time the middle aged people or the young people may not realize why these symptoms are happening with respect to grandpa or grandma. So accepting them, they may or they may not suffer from Alzheimer's. So making or giving more freedom, giving more preferences to the old people in the family and giving their preferences. So usually what happens in a family, when it comes to the old age people, the last preference is given to them. The first preference is given to the youngsters or school going children, then those who are working, then the middle aged, then the last preference is given to old age people. That should not happen. Somewhere I happen to read and hear about the time bank. So what is this concept of time bank? When you are very young in your age or in your middle age, you have to go and serve the old people. So how much time you spend for old people serving, so that time is being deposited in that bank. Then naturally, gradually, when we get old, so that time what we have deposited during our early years of life, that time is got back to us. So then you can encash our time so that somebody else, some again youngsters or middle-aged people will come and serve during our old age. Maybe our own belonging people are there or not there. So this time bank concept has already come in the Western countries. In India, this concept is still very new. But we Indians, always being together in a joint family structure, we have to, adhere and stick on to our old age, our traditional principles, that keeping our old people, our grannies and grandpas with us and taking care of them, making them enjoyable their old age, so that we can keep away the memory loss or dementia, or those who are suffering from Alzheimer's like diseases can come to very slowly to an end. Thank you. Thank you very much.